Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's Matty. Welcome to Main Street Fire Rescue. As of now, this vlog is in service. Got a good discussion today. Gonna try not to go too long, try to keep it, moderate, but got a lot to say. And for the playoffs, basketball playoffs, I know they're not in it, but we're kicking it old school, man. Karl Malone, the mailman. Except the only problem was the mailman didn't deliver on Sundays. It was always a good joke. But yeah, I tell you what, had the Utah Jazz never, if they didn't have to play the Chicago Bulls back in the late 90s, they would have won a couple of championships, but they just could not get past Michael Jordan and the crew, man. They were too good. But they gave them a run every 2 years in a row. I think they both pushed it to Game 6, Game 7. But anyway, I decided to sit down and chat a little bit about the new topic of the week, man. Tianas, Rainforest Cafe, Broccoli Mountain, Hobby Lobby, Michael's Flower Aisle, adventure. It's been a lot. What I find interesting, though, is there's been a lot of good, okay, but then there's been some critical. And the people that have been critical about this, they're not getting nearly the views as the people that are like, oh, it's the best thing ever. Is it being filtered? I wonder. Because the one I just did more recently about, it says Tianas Bayou Adventure opened this week and it's not off to a good start. Initially, I started going way up, but the views went up real fast. It went from 0 to like 50 or 60 right away, and then it just stopped. Just quit. I tried reorganizing it a little bit, so we'll see if that makes a difference. But, versus some of the, granted, I only got 460 subscribers, something like that, so that's a way different comparable to somebody with over 100,000. But, I just wonder if certain things, get throttled. I'm not sure. I'm still learning this YouTube thing, but I find it interesting how it shoots up pretty quick and then it just stops. So, and thank you all for your comments on the other one. That was good to read those. I'll try to get back with you as much as possible too. If you leave a comment, I'm going to really work hard. Especially right now, we're getting a few here and there. So before we take off and start getting thousands of comments, clearly it's almost impossible to get to every one of them. But while we don't have that yet, we'll try to interact with everybody on a one-to-one basis. So I'm going to do my best to do that. Kind of go that extra mile. But anyway, with that being a topic of this week, as I've thought, or my mind in YouTube anyway, you got to strike while the iron's hot. And it's still hot with this one. And the topic I wanted to talk about is, Tianas Bayou Adventure is a product of what happens when wokeism and virtue signaling collide with each other. I mean, it is what it is. And one thing you're going to learn about me and my channel is I'm not afraid to say stuff and call it out. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to get on dessert lists and media lists and all that. I'm not here for that. And I know with Disney, especially, to get on their media list, you basically got to shill for them left and right. You can't say anything bad, or they have certain points they want you to meet. And I've heard from other creators that I've watched their channels where they used to be on the media list, but they went to a media event and they're like, this is not good. And they choop out, so. And that was kind of the debacle with the Star Cruiser. You had a mixture of people going, hey, we're here, not going to say a lot because this is a free trip. And then they went back and paid their own money and then gave an honest review, which I think that's more like it. But then you had others that went on Disney's ticket and were like, oh, this is the best thing ever. Well, is it really? You got a free stay at a $5,000 hotel for 2 nights. It's hard to trust that. And same thing with Tianas Bayou Adventure. You've got a lot of the locals around here that have gone and they've just been, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, and this is just on and on and on. And then I'm watching this going, well, is it me? Because I don't feel that way. It honestly feels like an attraction that was just slapped together to try to virtue signal to everybody, going, look at us, we're doing this. It's like the whole thing of, hey, See us, look at what we're doing. Look, see, yeah, you like that? We're doing that. Yeah, we're getting it done. You know, it's just what it feels like. You know, it's not the fact that they made a ride for Tiana and the whole Princess and the Frog thing, which that didn't even go by that story, but they did it because, oh, well, we have to do it. We have to make this because we got to please this small group of people that made this claim about Splash Mountain. You know, all the ists and the isms. And what worries me a little bit, as far as the Disney parks go and all that stuff, even the movies, as long as you keep going off of virtue signaling and worried about the ists and the isms and, you know, whether or not things are going to be racist, you know, you're going to make crap products. Because, does anybody remember the South Park episode when it was one of the early on ones when it was for Christmas and somebody got mad? I think it was at the Christmas tree, and so the town was trying to basically virtue signal to everybody that, oh, we hear you, we're going to change this because we don't want offending everybody. Well, then it, you know, first off, the Christmas tree was offensive, then it was the music, and then it was the decorations, and, you know, on and on and on. And next thing you know, if I remember correctly, everything in the town for Christmas was black and white and gray, meaning it had nothing. There was nothing there. And it was all for the sake of trying to appease people, which, you know, as much as you're watching this, it don't matter what you do, you are not going to please everybody ever. It will never happen. You know, so while they're stepping over themselves to try to create this new attraction, they almost made an even worse problem because they gave us a pile of crap. You know, and I'm sorry, but look at what Universal's doing right now. Look at what SeaWorld is doing right now. Look at what even some of the smaller parks across the country are doing with some of the new attractions and even redressing their old ones. They're doing it because they're here to entertain people. They're here to give people an experience. I'm not sure about you all, but I have never gotten on an attraction or gone into a theme park and went, wow, I'm glad I spent $200 to come in here. The virtue signaling in here is on point. And, oh, these rides, oh, I'm glad we got representation here and here. Oh, yeah, my money is going all the way on this one. I don't know about you, I've never done that. I've been there because, wow, look at this. This is incredible. I've never seen anything like this. This is new technology. This is, you know, I can't wait for this ride to see, you know, how it works or how it's going to, you know, what's the climactic end of it going to be, you know, that kind of stuff. Think about a roller coaster. The climb up the hill is like getting everybody going. Or the new ones that launch you, you know, or the rides. Look at Epic Universe, man. These rides they're putting in. The Super Mario Bowser's Kart Challenge, the what is it? The Frankenstein's Castle ride, the supposed elevator ride at the new Ministry of Magic in Harry Potter World, or the Wizarding World, I should call it. Starfall Racers, or I'm sorry, I'll get sued for saying that. Stardust Racers. They had to rename it because they copyright or something. The hotel, the Helios Grand, you know, they named it after a Greek god. I mean, it's just like they're using creativity. And they're not worried about virtue signaling. You know, like I hate this because if you look back in Disney's past, they've created some pretty incredible attractions. I'm thinking of the top of my head, Expedition Everest, Kali River Rapids. Way back, the Great Movie Ride, you know, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Space Mountain. All of that was done off creativity, and even Splash Mountain. And no, I'm sorry, you're not going to win this argument with me. Splash Mountain is not racist. It's not at all. In fact, if you think it is, I encourage you to put it out there in the chat or in the comments. Where and how. Not, it can't be, oh, it's because of what I've heard. I want you to watch the movie, and I want you to point out the exact moment that all of this racism occurred. Please explain. Because, again, I've watched the movie. I own the movie. I can't find it anywhere. It's a fantastic story. That again, if I remember correctly, I'll try to put it in here at the very end where everybody walks off hand in hand singing zippity-doo-dah. I just, other than I've said it before in my other vlog, the only thing I can think of is it's just their way of saying, hey, look, we don't want people to see that. You know, we're trying to push this narrative that, you know, we're this big, bad, this country, and that, you know, this was supposed to be in the 40s and 50s, and we can't be seeing, you know, people of all colors and ages and genders walking hand in hand. We can't have that. We got to push this narrative because, by God, we're settled into it. So, you know, why else would they get rid of it? There's no reason to. You can't find Song of the South hardly anywhere. I found my copy at MegaCon back in February. There was a group of not a local business, but a traveling business was selling them. And even they said, they're like, man, people buy this up like crazy. It's one of our top selling items. I said, yeah, it's a good story, and it's hard to find. And they even agreed. They're like, yeah, you can't get it anymore. And even they didn't know why, because they're like, there's nothing bad in here. And what's interesting, it was two black guys that was selling them. You know, so it was just a good conversation with them. And so here we are. We tore out a ride that everybody loved. We spent $100 million, is I guess the estimate of it, and created this bag of garbage. You know, it took all the personality out. Like I said the other night, it's like looking at a black and white and gray painting. It has no personality. It's just, this is what you get when you try to appease everybody. You end up with this bland, vanilla-ass project that people write it and they're like, yeah, okay, that was fun, what now? I don't think it's going to be one of those rides that's going to go down in history as being the greatest ever. Now, there's YouTubers out there that are trying to go that route. Oh, this is the best thing ever. And I'm like, you know, my issue with that is you're really setting the bar low for this company, of which they can do unbelievable things with their projects. You know, and I wanted to point it out too, when you come out of the mountain, right, what do you see? You see Frontierland. Everything around it. Like, you know, when you came out of Splash Mountain, it kind of fit because you're in the frontier. It looked like the red rocks of the frontier. Now you're in a bayou, but when you come out of the mountain to go down the splash drop, the big drop, you're looking out on a frontier. So you've got 1920s New Orleans colliding with the frontier. Now, I've heard that they may take Frontierland and put that into New Orleans Square. And then the whole idea behind the Beyond Big Thunder Mountain is extend Frontierland that way with supposed Radiator Springs Racers. We'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens when D23 comes up. But when you start doing this stuff to virtue signal, you end up with a crap product. You know, as a lot of people have said, why in the world not give Tiana her own ride? Why not make a New Orleans Square? There's plenty of room in Magic Kingdom to do it. Why not? You know, they need more water rides anyway. It'd be perfect. And somebody else pointed out too, and I thought it was a good observation. Okay, the logs haven't changed. You know, the logs of Splash Mountain. They pulled the rabbit off the front, which is all they did. Which means they were trying to budget cut this thing because somebody said, why not? Okay, we're in the bayou. We're not really rowing a log through a bayou. Where's the boat? Why not make it an actual boat? Like, anybody remember the Kings Island? I think it was called the Keelboat Canals. You were in a boat and you went down this big drop and you skipped across the water when you got down there. You know, I could see, you know, rowing a boat through the swamp, but why are we in a log? What does that have to do with anything? You know, Splash Mountain, it was, you know, don't know where the log came from, other than it was a log ride, you know. But in these days, you talk about theming. How about a boat through the bayou? In fact, in the concept art, one of the concept art shows Tiana standing in a boat, and it looks like another boat's going by it, which with the people in it. You know, where is that? And again, I'm going to have to ride this thing, obviously, but It just seems like there's a ton of dead space. There's a ton of screens where everything used to be. And nobody knows yet why they make you tiny. What the purpose of that is. Nobody really knows. It's just there. And again, the story doesn't make sense. And the other thing I'm going to talk about is, yeah, I'm going to go there. I'm not afraid to, but damn it. They made this thing out of, like, the location is in a salt mine, okay? Now, all you have to do, since everybody's got these handy dandy little phones here, is all you got to do is Google salt mine history, okay? And you'll find that there was a lot of work going on there, and it wasn't good work, it was forced work. I got to be careful what I say because, you know, YouTube doesn't like free speech, some things. But the S word, you know, there's forced work. Avery Island Salt Mine did not have a good history. You know, yeah, it's where the Tabasco company is, but the fact that they based this location off of Avery Island, in fact, there's cues, or I'm sorry, there's hints of it in the queue line. I've seen, you know, photos of people that have been through the queue line. It talks about if you need extra assistance, call Avery, which the location is based off Avery Island Salt Mine. We got rid of Splash Mountain for some bullshit racism comment, or supposedly the worst, most racist thing around, and yet we're going to create a new attraction based off of a salt mine. And then on top of that, Tiana, I find it interesting how it's the co-op, which a co-op is a whole employee-owned thing. Which there's an ongoing debate of whether it's socialist or not. I mean, some people tend to lean it is, others say no. But anyway, this thing's supposed to be a food co-op, but it's got Tiana's name on it. It's not a co-op. Otherwise, it'd be what was it? It'd be like Food Co-op or New Orleans Foods Co-op or something. But it's not. It just doesn't make sense. And then the other thing is, there's these banners all over the place telling you where you're at, what you're doing. And the fact that they got to do that means it's hard to understand. People are like, what is really going on here? There's a lot happening. And I always thought, when you have to explain things like that to people, is it really that good? Just think about Splash Mountain. There was no explanation of anything. It just, things were happening. It was based off of Song of the South, which in the ride, the story starts out, about Brer Rabbit, and then when you get into the mountain, you go up into the mountain, the first lift hill, as I said, I think that was themed after Uncle Remus's house, because that's where the story took place. It's where he started telling all his stories to the kids and adults. So that's where it starts. And then, of course, it ends by Brer Rabbit convincing Brer Fox to sling him into the briar patch, which is how he got away. I mean, the story just played itself out. There was a ton to look at. There was you knew what was going on without having to see any type of wording as to what was happening. But yet this one, it's like we're going to some party, right? And they're looking for musicians. So I don't get it. I really don't. I'm trying to understand it, but I don't get it. And then the other thing I find interesting is there's a lady that was on a podcast the other day. Her name is Lorena Creole, and she does a lot of good reporting for Walt Disney World on social media. And she even said, she goes, this ride's like pretty damn almost offensive, the way they went about it. Because again, Avery Island Salt Mine was not the greatest place in the world. And the other thing is, as she was talking about, she's like, in 1920s New Orleans, you wouldn't see women wearing pants and like dressed up like Ranger Rick. She's like, that would not be. She's like, 1920s New Orleans is where the long flowy gowns and the style of it, Mardi Gras style. And if you look at the exterior of the ride, oh, and by the way, she even said, her Tiana being in that pantsuit was basically downright insulting almost. But then if you go to look even further, look at the construction of the building. You've got bright yellow on the outside, which, that was the shotgun row houses. They had a lot of bright colors. But then you have these paintings on there that are more of like, it's more of like modern pop art. versus the style in that time, which would have been more Art Nouveau / Renaissance. You wouldn't see paintings like that in that time frame. And there's other things people have pointed out. You know, the Tianas Foods truck, it's got decals on it that you wouldn't have that in that time frame. And things would be hand painted, and the scrolling, the script would be way different. You know, so it's just like doing things to try to please people, but yet, if we're all about theming here, where's the detail? Where's the attention to detail? You know, and then again, walking through these cues, you know, where it talks about being in the salt mines. You know, that's not good, man. Especially what irritates me is we got rid of Splash Mountain because somebody came up with some BS idea that it was racist, but for some reason. Nobody could point it out yet. And I've even heard it on live streams. You know, even before Splash Mountain closed, I heard this one yahoo walking through there with his kids and on a live stream. And the one kid that was with him, the girl, she goes, "I'm glad this ride's going away," as she's riding it. You know, keep in mind for social media clout. She goes, "I'm glad this ride's going away because it's extremely racist. And I've never seen the movie, but it's just what I've heard." So here are people that have never seen Song of the South, don't know anything about the story going on, but just because it's the flavor of the week, we're just going to go along with it. And nobody wants to stand out on their own and be like, you know what? No, this is bullcrap. This is absolute bullcrap. This is not racist. This is a fantastic ride. It's the most popular ride in the world as far as Disney rides go. What are we doing here? So, again, this is what you get when you're designing attractions to not offend people, to not scare people or make them the least bit intimidated, and to basically try to appease everybody. This is what happens. This is what you get. This is the kind of thing you get. And if I'm sorry, but if people don't start pushing back a little bit, this is how attractions, at least with Disney, are going to be. And honestly, Universal and the rest of the big companies, if they should see this, which I'm sure they are, this is how you capitalize on stuff. Because people go to theme parks to be entertained. They're not there to like look around and go, yeah, man, the virtue signaling is on point in here. Nobody does that. The tiny fraction that do probably aren't going to theme parks to begin with. They're just causing problems. Which long ago, during the summer of love, as we all know, the summer of 2020, when all the world was coming apart at that point, and all Disney would have had to do was say, "Listen, we appreciate the concern you have. However, this is a theme park for everybody. We're here to entertain them. Stay out of it. Let us make those decisions." That's all they would have had to say. And yeah, there would have been some like, people, because it was the flavor of the week at that moment. People would have gone crazy. They'd have been, this, that. But it would have been forgotten. It seriously would have been forgotten. Just like everything else. Everything comes and goes in waves. But no, we got to get in front of this and appease everybody. So, don't worry, we'll tear it apart and we'll put something else in there that'll please the 1 or 2% that's bitching. And meanwhile, they took a fantastic attraction and basically turned it into just an attraction that's there. It elicits nothing. It's just there. It doesn't make you laugh. It doesn't make you sad. It's just there. You just ride it. There's nothing else. I don't know how else to explain it. Now again, I'm going to say this. I haven't been on it yet, which, hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll ride it. And we'll do I'll do a full on, what I thought again. But this is what happens when companies start to, let virtue signaling and let people's emotions dictate what they do. You get crap because there's no way you can't please everybody. You're going to have to just piss people off. And those that you do, it's like, listen, I appreciate that you're pissed, but you know what? We're here to entertain people. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to just make a fantastic product, and the rest will be what it will be. And that's it. So, good little talk, right? Glad to just sit down and chit-chat for a minute. Like I said, I'm going to go to the parks here in a little while. Got another one to do. So let me know what you think. Again, thanks again for your comments on the other videos. As long as this thing is still up front, man, we'll keep talking about it, because I honestly feel like this is what we're going to get if we don't start getting in front of this. This is going to be how other attractions are played out, and you know, you can't have that. You know, I'm telling you, Universal, SeaWorld, and the rest of them are going to overtake them if they don't knock this crap off and just design attractions to entertain people. Again, Expedition Everest is a perfect example. That was done because they wanted the biggest, the baddest, the best ride in the world, and to live up to that Disney quality, and they did it. You know. Also, the one thing, these people that supposedly went to New Orleans, they took a bunch of vloggers with them, and they took a bunch of Imagineers, supposedly, at this big old trip. What did you learn? The artwork doesn't match. The walkway that you walk on doesn't match. That looks more like something you'd see in Paris. If you look back at 1920s New Orleans, it's all like brick and cobblestone. You know, what are we doing? The railings look like more of a France type of railing instead of like the bent wrought iron. You know, even the building that it sits in, you know, they just kept the same Splash Mountain building, and it still looks like Splash Mountain, like when you went into the barn area. You know, nothing, they didn't change anything. They just redressed it, and nothing matches at all. Look at 1920s New Orleans architecture, and you'll see. Nothing matches at all. So, like I said, good chat. I like doing this for y'all. Let me know what you think. I'm going to head out now. We're going to close this vlog out. And before we do, I'll show you something real quick.
The smoke was coming out of the chimney, and the light from the lamps was shining soft. Inside the house, the kettle was singing over the fire. On the hearth, the cricket was a jigging to the tune. Yes, sir. Things was mighty satisfaction, 'cause Brer Rabbit done come back to his laughing place with the folks all around him what belonged to. And that night, he was the happiest Brer Rabbit. And that was the laughingest place in the whole wide world.
Daddy. Mama, Daddy's here. Mama.
She's right here, son.
Yes, darling, it's all right.
Mama, make you stay, please.
Dear my son, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay right here, where I belong.
Honest?
Honest. And we'll have more fun than Brer Rabbit himself.
And we'll have the laughingest place in the whole wide world.
And that's the truth. Miss Doshi, things are looking mighty satisfaction. Mighty satisfaction.
Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder. It's really true, it's action. Everything is satisfaction. Symphony good dog, symphony yes. Oh, what a wonderful feeling. What a wonderful day.
The racism is so bad I can barely watch it. Give me a freaking break, man. You saw it. That's the very end of Song of the South. Where? And the whole movie's like that. Like, please explain. It just drives me nuts that we lost an amazing attraction because of claims off of this movie, and you still see them every time these sites talk about Splash Mountain. They keep saying, "Oh, the problematic Splash Mountain, the racist Splash Mountain." Where? As I've said before, the reason they want that movie gone and out of and away from history is because that right there, and think of the time period that was filmed in. They don't want people to know that, hey, everyone's getting along. Yeah, we have some rough history with certain things, but so does everybody, man. That's what you learn. That's why history exists, so you learn from it. You know, that was the post, S-word era. And look at that movie. Again, show me. I just get so tired of the shills out there. They keep bringing that up. Oh, it was problematic. It was racist. It was, it was references to the S word. Where? Please explain to me where. I saw a bunch of people getting along. All genders and colors. Men and women, boys and girls. I'm telling you, man, they don't want people seeing that stuff. That's why I'm a firm believer they got rid of it. The narrative out there is that we all hate each other, and it's not true at all. And as long as they keep pushing this BS narrative, I'm going to keep pushing back because somebody has to. I love going to the theme parks. I like the Disney parks. I like all of them, but I cannot stand when people shove out false information like that and then it just gathers traction. Everybody just goes along with it without even doing their own research, without even going, you know what, I watched that movie. I don't see what you're talking about. But no. We just jump on the bandwagon and go along with what everybody else is doing because, hey, it's much easier, right? Nobody wants to stand up anymore for what they believe in, or they're afraid to go against the grain because, oh, what will other people think of me? Who gives a shit, man? Stand up for what you believe in. Again, if you think Tiana's Bayou Adventure is a good ride, then fine, it's a good ride. I got no problem with that. We all have our own, ways we process things. I think it's a crap ride. I don't like what they did with Splash Mountain. I think, did Tiana deserve a ride? Absolutely. But why did she have to get a remade, bunch of scraps put together to create an attraction, all in the name of virtue signaling and trying to appease people? Why not give her own attraction? That would have been fantastic. I'm telling you, man. It could have still been called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and it could have been something great. But instead, they scrapped an existing beloved attraction out of some BS rumor that got created by people that know nothing about anything, that don't watch anything, that just go along with the flavor of the week, and that's how we ended up here. And I hate it. I really do. I can't stand this, these narratives that get pushed out there. And that's why, as long as that stuff keeps getting thrown out there, I'm going to keep pushing back because, again, watch the whole movie. The whole movie is like that. Everybody's getting along. I don't understand where they came up with this, other than they try to claim from the time period, but that was the post S-word era. So, I don't know, man. So, I hope you got something out of this. I hope you liked it. Leave me a message in the comments below. Look forward to seeing what you have to say, man. Have a fantastic afternoon. Main Street Fire Rescue out of service. See you, everybody. And before I leave this vlog, it's been the truth. It's been actual. And I hope for you, it's been mighty satisfactual. See you, everybody.